The dollar has been in a decline literally for the last 30 years. Now that in and of itself is interesting. So what should we do about it? What's going on? What we should do right now is just hit that like button. Give it a little nudge. Smash the subscribe button, and for crying out loud, if you don't agree with me, then make a comment. I'll answer it back to you. A lot of you are DMing me on my 360 site. Hit down the comments and I'll do the same thing down there. Make a comment. Should you be saving money? Is it disappearing? Let's get down to it right now. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna break it down with no bias. This is just my opinion. You can have a separate one, and I hope you do, because I will not censor anybody's avenues there. We don't want Elon Musk coming and buying me out. Okay. So what is the reserve currency? The reserve currency is the United States dollar. What does that mean? Well, in the 1700s, it was the French that had the reserve currency. They held it for about 80 years. Actually, no currency has been the reserve currency for longer than 80 years. So in about 1812, it became the British. The British were dominating everything. Economy was going through the ceiling, so it became the British pound. And then in the 1920s, right after World War I, it was kind of quasi the United States. It officially became the reserve currency in 1944, literally right after the World War II was about to end. Now, what is a reserve currency? It's a currency that has strength backed up by the government. In other words, everybody agreed, let's use this particular currency right now, because we don't want to go back and forth and do we use yen, peso, what do we do here? So it gives a commonality. For those of you out there that have cryptocurrency, it's like a stable coin. When I sell my Bitcoin and I want to hold it for a minute before I buy my Ethereum or whatever it is, XRP, it doesn't matter. I want to make sure it's somewhere where it's not going to go up and down with the daily markets. That's exactly what's happening when I have a shipping container and I want to accept it in some monetary value. All oil has to be traded in dollars. That's the whole conflict you're seeing between the United States administration, current administration, not the US, and the Saudis right now. They're threatening to go to the yen. It's never happened before. It usually hasn't ended up real well. When somebody tried to go away from the US dollar and oil, think Saddam Hussein, think of Gaddafi. Those are the two people that threatened, the last two people that threatened to go off the US dollar when it goes to oil. So that's what a reserve currency is. But could the US dollar be in danger of being knocked out? Yes, kind of. I mean, China's creeping up behind us. They say that their economy could surpass us in 2030, and that could be a little bit of a problem. But if you're looking at any graphs at how far away the Chinese or any other currency for that matter of being as strong as the US dollar, it's a long way away. Right now, the biggest threat to the US dollar is our debt. It is huge. It is massive. It's like 30 trillion and going up. Just to give you an idea of how big that is, I understand that that debt, if we had it in the bank, would pay off everybody's mortgage and student loans and car loans, and have enough money left over to give every man, woman, and child $25,000 apiece. That's big. For the last 20 years, what has been happening? How do we have this debt? What's going on? If you and I did this, we'd be bankrupt. Okay, but it's got to put it in perspective. So what's happening here is we're bringing in $4 in US taxes and we're spending $6. What? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's kind of what's happening. So what you're looking at is we're spending more than we're taking in. The nice thing about it is our savings isn't great. That's not the nice thing, is other countries are willing to invest in US treasuries because of the stability and the safety of the United States government, number one, and our economy and our buying power. That has not changed. Now here's the other problem. We have printed a ton of money since the pandemic. Since 2020, 80% of money that's in circulation was printed in the last 18 months. That's big. So that money is out there. That's like taking a pie and dividing it into 4 and then dividing it into 4 again. So you're taking the same dollar power and you're putting more of it out there. That has to evaporate somehow, and that's why we get inflation. It's not because businesses want to make more money. It's not because we've got greedy corporations out there. It's costing everybody more for everything. You're all seeing it. So here's how it works. You got three factors that are really making a big difference on the US dollar right now. You've got the 10-year treasury. That's what they're willing to pay for a treasury note over a 10-year period of time. So foreign governments will come in and dump on that. You got foreign exchange rate. Okay, that's the exchange rate between dollars and euros and yens and what have you. And then you get foreign reserves. Those all have a factor on the US dollar strength. Weak dollar is better for exports coming in. But right now, the dollar is strong and getting stronger. It's gone up like 10, 15, 20% in the last 2 years. Now, that's good for US in a way, because when we're selling something made in the United States, we're making more money because it's not as profitable for people to import things here. So with that all being said, should we worry about it? I'm gonna say no. And I've been wrong before. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. There is nothing even close to being able, not willing, okay, I'm sure a lot of governments would like to be the standard reserve of the world. Think of, I don't know, Russia's ruble. But anyways, okay, there's nothing that comes close. So if anything happened right now, it would be devastating worldwide. So until you start seeing those currencies as strong or getting up there near the US, that's when you kind of need to worry. So it's a lot ado about nothing because it sounds good. I mean, think about this for a minute. Yes, the dollar is not as strong as it used to be, but the dollar value is going up. We're spending more than we're actually taking in revenue from the IRS. Seriously? Yeah, but that's kind of like saying this. Oh my gosh, the guy just borrowed $30 million or $3 million on a home. Yeah, but what you didn't say is that he's got a net worth of $20 million. Kind of relevant, isn't it? Even though we're borrowing a lot, we have a lot of borrowing power. The challenge is, if foreign governments lose faith in what we're doing on a massive scale, it's gonna make a big difference. I don't see that happening right now because there is no other alternative, period. A lot of people like to talk about China, but they just don't have the economic or the military force that we do. That's really the bottom line. So should you worry about it? No, I wouldn't worry about it. But what I would do is I would start buying physical assets like real estate. This is one of the reasons the car market is doing so well also. It's a physical asset, but also you've got a supply chain challenge, which is not going to go away anytime soon. You got pandemic situations happen over in China. That's slowing down that. They're contracting a little bit, but you're also seeing an economic push going the other direction because we're coming out of the pandemic. Oh, wait, then you've got Russia and Ukraine squabbling on the border over there. That supply chain stuff has been affected that way. There's a lot of factors. It's not just one. And what I like to say, just like in the last video, is you know what I can control? I can control what I am doing. I can go in and buy a piece of real estate for a fraction of the fair market value. For instance, I can get a $100,000 property for $10,000 in back taxes. All the other stuff doesn't matter. I don't care what happens to the price of oil. I don't care who gets elected president. Kinda. I don't care what happens in Russia. I mean, I do on an emotional basis, but it can't affect me individually. And that's why I love the asset of real estate. Hopefully that helps you out a lot. I've got some conferences coming up in June. If you would like to go to one of these conferences and want some complimentary tickets, hit me up on a DM and I'll send those to you. This is Sean Higgins saying good luck and God bless.